Welcome to the Gymnazo Podcast. I'm today's host, Paden Hughes, one of the owners of Gymnazo and Gymnazo EDU. And today I am interviewing Michael Hughes, husband and founder of Gymnazo. I put husband first. And we're going to be talking about the way to structure your services in fitness and how to think beyond the typical models of either being kind of a personal training studio, if you will, or a group fitness operation, and what other models are out there. And then there's something that you call the ecosystem, and I want to make sure people understand, what the heck is that? Are you some environmentally friendly fitness group, or do you have something secretly going on that we need to know about? So I think that's all we're going to cover in today's podcast, so sit back and enjoy. And so, Michael, I want to ask you to start off with where you began kind of your fitness journey. What service did you start with when you started fitness training?
Yeah, it all came down to the job title of personal trainer. Mm-hmm. And in itself, that is the job, right? You personally train one other human being, and you have that hour set up. And I remember my first goal was to make $150 per day. That was it.
That's so awesome.
I know. Because at that point, let's say I was charging, I think I was charging $60, but I only got 30% of that, 40% of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even today, we'll get stoked if we have a $3,000 day. It's insane to think of the difference. But seriously, I have to look at some of the milestones and be I remember when hitting $15,000 in a month was a huge deal, and now it's
Oh, I remember 12,000. The first time we hit 12,000.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so good.
Okay. It was so good. Okay,
so
going back to personal training.
So it was personal training. That's where it started, and and it was filling my schedule. I had a 9 o'clock. Cool. Let's try to get it at 10 o'clock. Let's try to. Dang it! I don't have anyone until 3. Okay. Well, luckily I have class at 12. This is in college, so yeah. It's one-on-one training. 1 hour for $1.
Okay, so talk to me about whether you felt how did you feel about that service once you were able to stack your schedule the way you wanted?
Well, you feel so super accomplished, right? As a personal trainer, it feels good. I got 6 people today. Yeah, right on. And I think that's actually a pretty good workload. 6 clients, 5 to 8 clients. 8 clients, that's a day. For a personal trainer, it's a lot of energy to knock out. 4 in the morning, lunch, 4 in the afternoon, sounds awesome. That's an easy work day, but that's not how it works for a personal trainer.
I don't know, man. 4 in the morning sounds pretty rough.
No, 4 sessions in the morning time.
I thought you meant 4 in the morning.
Because it is literally 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
5 a.m., 6 a.m.
Yeah, I remember. You used to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, you don't train on the 9 to 5 schedule because that's when people are working.
Yeah, it's true. In fitness, you really get to experience the full range of the pockets of time during the day, which gets exhausting. But I want you to tell me, what were the pain points of just having one service?
The pain point of just having one service is the cancellation.
Yeah.
I probably would lose a few $100s per week in just cancellations or reschedules that got pushed to the next week or to the next month. So in tracking, you lose it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, still money in your pocket, right?
Yeah, you still have it, but you didn't get it that month that you had bills to pay, right? You just push the revenue to the next month.
Exactly. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then starting to manage, once you start getting above 15, 20 clients, one-on-one, half hours or hours, right? You have to manage now 15 to 20 different schedules.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of administrative time.
As well as obviously making time to program at some point in your life.
I'm not bringing that up because in the first when I first started, I didn't program.
Really?
No, I'm sad to say it, but it's the truth. I just showed up, looked at them, sweet, awesome, let's rock and roll. I'd write down workouts as I'm doing it. If it was programming on the go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was what a cool thing. I'm just programming on the go because I get to really customize it for the moment. And that's certainly a strategy.
Yeah.
Then I used it for a long time. I despise that strategy now
Yeah.
But
you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly, 100%. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't want to beat up my past self. Thank you very much for telling me about that. I don't want to beat up my past self for something I just didn't know. I just, they don't really talk about programming that much in general personal training certifications. They certainly talk about it, but not in a way that I thought was very, very good. Anyways, so a lot of programming, a lot of scheduling, and a lot of managing a lot of people's lives because you got to get personal.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you and you were still a personal trainer or just getting into the next service, which we'll talk about here. You mentioned how much you feel like you can be a therapist to people.
Oh, I think a hairdresser, quote unquote,
Yeah.
that person and personal trainers.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's another one out there. I may be missing. Forgive me, that industry.
Maybe actual therapists.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, as business consultants, I would say that we can get into therapy as well.
Well, I mean, and especially with training and conditioning, even doing hair, right?
Yeah.
You're working on someone's physicality.
Yeah.
Hair, 100%.
Yep.
And they walk out of that salon feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And all you did is cut their hair. Mm-hmm. So how does that make them feel, right? And what is feeling? Well, to me, that's mental.
Yeah.
Then how does it make them be? I use the word their Jiminy Cricket, right? Their soul. Who do they talk to? Their inner voice, right? That's what's truly being affected. Oh, you're smiling big. I'm
smiling because this is a full rabbit trail off the topic here as we've dived into hairdressers and all that jazz.
Well,
and you just dropped some great soulful language.
But it's to bring it all back, it's the interconnectedness, hence the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And if you realize it's there, if you at least people may know that they don't know.
I would not call that the ecosystem. I do not want to confuse people.
No, of course not. No, but it is the same concept. Right? It is.
Yeah,
you're not just dealing with one thing, though.
Let's keep that word for what we're going to talk about, which is a suite of services.
You got it.
Yes. Okay. So, let's get back on track here with the second service. So, talk to me about you kind of got into the pain point. I'm just gonna give it a quick comment here. When you talked about it with personal training, the bottleneck was the cancellations. The bottleneck was constantly trading time for money and zero leverage of your time. Mm-hmm. And then always, even if you put in an eight client workday, you still have to do a lot of administration. You're constantly getting your phones buzzing, people scheduling changes and all these different things. And at some point, you pretty much realize for you to take a vacation, you're going to lose money every single time.
And maybe you lose clients because they want to keep going and they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
So they're going to go find something else to do.
Yeah, or you're worried they're going to go train with somebody else, like their style, and cut back on sessions with you or leave you. And so it creates, created just this this constant, you can't get out of your work. Like you're almost a slave to the trade.
Well, I think I use that term often.
Well, that's what I've heard. A lot of people get really excited about personal training, get really amped about booking their schedule, and then how many months can they sustain that before they realize, oh crap, I can't leave the job I've just created for myself, which means that it's, anyways, so it kind of wears them down. So talk to me about what you did next. What was the next service you brought in?
Well, the next service was bringing in, it's like, okay, let's full leverage.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just go for it. And it was bringing in group training.
Well, it wasn't like full leverage.
Well,
goal. You didn't go like Orange Theory Fitness, pack them in like sardines. Here's 30 people in a room.
Thank you. That is full leverage.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's full leverage. You had some standards.
Yeah. Full leverage in terms of what I'm thinking about. I appreciate the context. Full leverage was bringing, it's like, let's start to bring, like, you have like partner training, right? Mm-hmm. Two people share the session. They both pay less, but you make more as a trainer.
Yeah.
Well, let's compound that.
Yeah.
And it really came to the point, like, that's when CrossFit really, I don't say really, but started to become popular amongst trainers. Mm-hmm. Not amongst athletes and clients, but amongst trainers.
Because this is 2010 we're talking about, right?
Yep.
2009?
Yep. Yeah, it started to become like, okay, there's a, not the world doesn't know about this place, but the trainers know about it. And realizing that this group training is very possible. So do it. And finding the certain clients, like you got to find the right clients that would blend together first. Mm-hmm. And realizing that doing one program for one person, like I got to the point, again, that I would probably write I was writing programs at that time, writing probably 4 to 5 programs for 8 people. And I would just modify because Jim and Jerry, I saw them at two different parts of the day, but they wanted the same goals. They wanted to get more muscle mass, lose weight, and look better.
And they're both around the same demographic with the same kind of aches and pains.
Yeah, both from the 30. Well, aches and pains was like, oof.
Yeah, we didn't. I guess at that point we weren't really happy to discuss that.
No, you avoid aches and pains. Like your modification was around. You modified not to make an exercise cooler, better. It was to get rid of the pain.
Smarter, yeah.
Yeah.
So it hurts you to lunge, do a push-up.
100%.
Like what? I'm supposed to be working my lower body strength.
Walk
Anybody
away.
knows you just got benched in the workout.
Right. It was really just stopping the pain and keeping them moving. So
Yeah.
you just go make the easy answer, change up the process. Yeah. So then is having a conversation with someone. It's like, hey, I think I want to save you money. I think I'm gonna go through this process, and I want to save you money, and I save you time. And I remember like in my head, like in the big box gym, talking to a client of mine, and I remember like exactly where I was, and like selling him that group was going to be better for him. And it was like selling the fact that I'm going to charge you significantly less money.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be better.
It's an easy sell going that route, I think.
Well, they're so used to one-on-one. Like, I'm going to share your time, Michael. Like, no, it wasn't an easy sell.
Oh.
It wasn't.
All right. Talk us through that for a minute. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but what actually worked?
What actually works is you had to find just that one group of people that wanted that awesome time. Let's call it 9:45, right? The parent hour. I'm not gonna call it the mom hour because it's the parent hour.
Yeah.
It's really the mom hour, but it's like but that one client had that time, and everyone's just kind of sneaking around it. I guess I can come at 11 after drop off from school or whatever the case is, or I got to show up before preschool ends out, so I'm going to come at 11 o'clock. And you have to really gang your people up. And it's a slow roll. It's a slow roll. It doesn't happen in a weekend. I wish it did. Oh man, I worked on that for probably 3 to 6 months.
Really?
Converting.
To move your roster into group?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Now, how is that financially for you?
You lose money.
Yeah.
No, straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up, you get less money. And you have to ride that through.
What % of people were eventually bought in, and how many people were just like, "Sorry, Michael, I love you, but you're going the wrong direction for me"?
I'm gonna go 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10
bought
moved?
in. No,
Okay.
8 out of 10 moved. There were some people
Moved into group.
Yeah, I moved into group. There was for the people who didn't move in, I didn't even offer it.
Yeah.
Because they were just not the clientele that I was building the demographic for. Like I built a demographic based program.
Yeah.
And it was going to fit the 20, whatever, to 45.
Well, and then you have to make that horrible decision as a personal trainer, which is where we get a lot of resistance with our clients. Is like, okay, you're going to need to make a group. Well, everybody wants 9 o'clock, but my best paying client, my favorite client is sitting there at 9:30 and I don't want to budge them. They've been my bread and butter. We're best friends. Right. And you're like, okay, sorry, but you have to realize that it's better you can serve a lot more people and make better money, which stabilizes you and your business and protects you from the hobby job scenario. So you're going to have to make that call.
Right. And what's interesting, like as I was making that transition, the clients liked it. Like to me, it's like I use this term a lot. You got to get butts in seats. You got to be able to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just try it. If you hate it, we can talk about it, right?
Exactly. And the workout was harder. They got more value out of it from a workout. Because in personal training, I think a lot of personal trainers will admit this. There's a lot of chatting in personal training.
Our banker literally just booked a one-on-one with you last week just to talk to you. And he literally told me it's the best money he spent all month. I was like, you really didn't train at all?
A little bit.
I know.
We definitely did.
So funny.
But as a personal trainer, I'm going back to even my first job at Bally Total Fitness. I had clients, literally, we talked the whole time.
Yeah.
And I said, gosh, I can't charge you for this session. They said, of course you will. Absolutely you will. This was a great hour for my day. I get it, right? And that's the whole therapy side, right?
Yeah. It's connection. There's so much more to personal training as a profession.
Yeah, so there's a lot of chatter. So therefore, when there's chatter, there's not much working out.
Yeah, so when you get in the group dynamic, then they've got a partner. They maybe are a little bit competitive because you trying to pair people with like skill sets and personalities. And
right, a lot less chatter, or it's chatter within a small, like the clock shuts people up. I don't mean that in a negative way, right? It's time to go now. You got to go.
It sets the parameters and
boundary. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I don't like the word shut up, but it keeps people moving. So getting that going was great. But then I realized, like group is awesome. It really is. It was so cool, but it's really hard to cancel a client that you've been with for a long time. I don't mean cancel culture. Sorry, that's a hot word right now. But to say I can't train you anymore because I have this group coming up.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was really hard. And there's a few clients I just held on to. I don't believe in getting rid of one-on-one training altogether.
Yeah.
I really don't. There's a huge. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about how we really brought back an emphasis with a smarter approach.
But in the beginning, I did. I only kept 2.
Yeah.
2 personal training clients, and then I just went group hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
And this was back when, honestly, like you were saying, CrossFit was just starting to get into the model of like kind of a smaller group feel, compared to like the trainer on stage follow along with me. Like that was really when you started figuring out the leverage piece was before small group training is today.
It's the hottest thing in fitness now.
Yeah, it is, right. But it wasn't at the time. And I think that was one of the coolest things where like you didn't have a model to follow. You were just like, I just need to make more money with this. This seems to make sense. I think you were like, how many people are on a Navy SEAL team? Great. That's the max number of humans.
That's exactly what it was. And
that's how you capped your numbers.
Yeah, and I think it's 6 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's 8. But yeah, I was like, oh, cool. So that's the ample size of a team. And it maybe is. Yeah. But that's not the ample way to make a business.
Yeah. So we ended up kind of doing this dance of value and leverage, right? It's always, and value can be your value, but always the client's value. And people will pay where value is clear. And so I remember like, it was like, okay, well, can we get it up to 8 people? Ooh, gosh, I remember being like nervous. Like, can I take 2 more people? Is it going to ruin it? Are people going to be perception of lower value? And it was like worrisome for you.
Yeah. Because we were charging $30 a workout with 6.
Yeah.
And that's like semi-private as we look at it. So that's a heavy semi-private.
But I'm glad you're throwing these numbers out because if I was a trainer, I'd be like, well, literally, like how did you do it? And what were you charging? So this is good.
Yeah. So then I dropped the price because I felt that more people should be cheaper price.
And that attracted more people to it because they could afford different types of people could afford different things. So, okay. So then you just have one group training. How do you split into 2 programs? Because that's the next thing you did.
Yeah, so then it was build one program, and then it was actually in an internship that I was experiencing. And this is what I want to emphasize to people so much. Learn from others.
Yeah.
Best practices.
Yeah.
Hire a coach. I joined an internship with another gym in town, and they had two groups. I was like, what a great idea. They get the high level athletes and just the general pop training at the same time. 2 different workouts. One coach managing 2 workouts.
Yeah.
I was like, what a great idea. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
And I just implemented it, and it's double the programming. But the cool thing about programming group, you have to program. There's no. Excuse me. I do know of gyms that just show up and do group programming on the fly. But
most trainers would not.
I would hope so, but that's stressful.
Yeah.
I just call that stressful. So yeah, it's writing 2 workouts, and then you describe one, they get going. You describe the other, and they get going. And it's great. But 2 was not enough. Not enough.
Well, because you had like the intermediate fitness people, the more advanced fitness people, and then this is one of the other key pieces of how to build out your business is you need to listen to the voice of the customer. Not just all voices, the ones that you go, oh my gosh, you're literally my dream client. And when your dream client speaks, and you like, that's where you get this like intuition, like that's right. I need to do what that is.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating anytime anybody gives you an idea, go and build that. I'm talking about when somebody gives you an idea and you look at them and you say, I could build a business around you as a client.
And that client I just saw this morning was pretty cool.
Miss Debbie.
Yeah, the same client. The mother of RO.
Yeah, or it's now called G1 for group level 1.
Yeah, so it was building that intermediate level, G2 as we look at it now, and then starting G2, and then those trainers, those athletes got good. So you bump them into the G3, a different name then. But then literally trying to say, okay, well, let's get the baby boomer, which was that was who Michael Hughes was designed to train.
Yes. The over 40 crowd is I swear that's who we built our business off of.
Yeah.
Because every business can attract 20, 30-year-olds in fitness. 100%. Like that, you don't build a business around the demographic that shows up all the time to every fitness program under the sun. You build a fitness program around the demographic nobody's chasing and then just dominate that.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's like another little tip in there. Specialize. And so you saw when Debbie said, I want to do it, but I can't do, what did she say?
She said, I can't do the box. I can't get the impact. My knees can't manage that. I'm a great athlete, Michael, and she certainly is. My knees can't manage that.
And she said, if you can do this, I'll bring 8 friends or 10 friends or how many friends she said?
It was 4,
But you could build with 4 plus her 5 starting out.
That's a group.
You can be profitable.
Oh, I was amped. I was like, 4? Like 4? Are you kidding me? 4? That's big money. That was big money. I was amped. I'm like, heck yeah. I went and started writing that program immediately. Talked to Trevor about it as our coach at the time. And this great idea, because at that time we had like 6 stations. There's always 6 stations, 1 per person. Hence why it was 6. And bada bing, bada boom, like there's going to be stretching built into it and this, and it's not going to be just hardcore, it's going to be that. And Trevor's like, that's a bad idea. Don't throw stretching in there. You're going to hate that. We didn't put stretching into it, but now we have a whole stretching group class.
Yeah, some of our most popular classes today are recovery based.
Yeah. And that was it. And then our group 1 blew up, and that's when we started having times at like 3 p.m.
Yeah,
like
because
crazy times.
Yeah, or 11 a.m. because it was like we had like the diehard 6 a.m.ers, like the type A of type A's, C-suite executives showing up, and then it goes into kind of like the self-employed men, the soccer mom crew. Then it just kind of like
school-age mom
crew, and then there's like nothing, and then there's the noon crew that's super intense, kind of modeling after the 6 a.m. Exactly. And then it's sort of this lull until it's the 4, 5, and 6 in the evening.
I mean, even at 4 o'clock. Who's going to show up to a 4 o'clock?
Yeah,
it's they're still working. 4 o'clock's way busier than the 5.
Yeah,
but because it fits our demographic.
Our demographic has more flexibility.
They get off work earlier.
Yeah, so we ended up being able to fill some of these pockets because that's the other dilemma you get in is like group training. You look at a lot of schedules and it's like 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 3, or maybe like 3 3 classes. Thank you, 2 or 3 classes in the morning. That's like the peak time, and then there's a couple, maybe like midday, maybe 1.
Okay, so evenings. One of our old clients, she's still a client of ours. She brought me one of my first flyers.
Oh,
I know, it's so cool. And then Jackson ripped it.
Oh no!
Or drew on it with
our
a pen.
son.
I know. Anyways,
classic.
It's okay. It was in pristine condition too. First time of the morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:30 a.m. My first group, 9:30, and then noon. Yeah, those are my 3 times.
So, but could you survive happily on the income that those 3 times could?
As a hobby job trainer? With
just as a single
spouse?
Trainer.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me. I mean, it depends on your quality of life, right?
Yeah, it depends on your standard of living. We're in California. If you're in Oklahoma, it might be different.
Maybe different, exactly, yeah. But in San Luis Obispo, Central Coast, California, the payroll of life for a mid-20-year-old was not just fine. It was doable.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
but as a career, no, kidding me? No way.
So, so we've got 3 different levels of group training now. You've held on to your 2 sweetheart personal training clients. What was missing for you? Because in the backdrop of this, you've massively invested. You literally invested half of your annual salary in 1 year into a continuing education program that was 10 months long.
Yep.
Which I just have to say, that's a baller move. Take half of your salary and invest it in a program. I just want to say that because a lot of times we get quibbled about, price, I can only afford something for $99. Like straight up, you are not going to elevate your career for $99.
No,
but if you're
sorry.
serious about really skill acquisition from a place of science and knowledge and true mastery over something, like you're going to have to put some dollars down. But in the backdrop of building out your group, you had built out your skill set, and then you became obsessed with solving musculoskeletal dysfunction. But then you walk into a group dynamic, and how are you going to help somebody whose left knee's hurting in a squat?
I know. It's the crazy thing is like every session you just see
Yeah.
all the problems of your program. You see all
Yeah.
the problems of movement. So
Yeah, because
cool.
the smarter you get, the smarter everything has
Exactly.
to get. Otherwise, you constantly feel like you have imposter syndrome about every element of your business.
Right. So like every time we'd rewrite a program, we're like, gosh, what a crappy program. I remember Trevor and I, like, man, I can't believe we wrote that.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, I'm
You
glad we
still-
rewrite this. We
you
still
guys
do.
still feel like that.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. Like, gosh, we actually wrote that. We actually did that. So that we could control.
Yeah.
But you can't control someone's knee pain in a group session. So you try. And I
Yes.
remember doing like straight up like things that we do in one-on-one training. Like remember Lucas was here? Like the dude was doing like some straight hands-on, guiding of bones in a group session. We're like,
Dude, yeah.
right, hold on, yeah. It's like we got that has its place in time. But
you're ignoring 5 to
Exactly.
10 humans to
Right.
give all of your attention. And then it became this whole, hey, people are feeling ignored. We're getting feedback that like they're playing favorites because clients think you're playing favorites.
So like this heart of gold type of training, that's
Yeah.
what it was,
Yeah.
comes down to, it's like, you have to, you have to have your place in time. Like,
Yeah.
so we realized that we have this capacity to
Mm-hmm.
do more as a trainer, but we didn't have the service offering to do it. So we sold them into one-on-one training, and that was our revival of
Yeah.
one-on-one training, but truly not the true revival. It was our initial one.
And the goal was never, though, I want to be super clear. The goal was only to be like, okay, when somebody's in a place that's impacting their ability to continue to work out at the level they want, when they're getting frustrated and when they're considering stopping. Like it's in that moment of complete frustration where we say, hey, can we put a couple sessions together, you and I, and can we try to get to the bottom of this and teach you how to foam roll and teach you how to do these different things pre and post your workouts so that we can help you stay in the program, because it became very apparent that group training spits people out.
Inherently, the
Inherently-
model is just not focused enough.
Yeah, I mean, we obsessed about smarter programming and blending restoration and performance, which is like our signature, which helps, but it's not perfect.
It's not perfect. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And so I remember like after sessions, we'd just hang out with people for like 10, 15, half hour sometimes.
Yeah.
Post session, just helping them out, which is good business, right? Because hold on. Let me finish my thought here. It's good business because you want that person to continue to train with you, and you have to keep them there. We didn't have the service offering to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And that's bad business in a sense.
Because I came in sort of like,
Well,
at that
you-
point I was engaged in the business and running it, and I was like, there's just no way we can spend half an hour with clients after every session. Like, this is crazy. And then if we become known for that, what happens when 3 people are hanging around trying to get more time? And like, we need to find something to sell them.
Or we had a session coming up in
Yeah.
5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. And
Right.
then they're frustrated because they don't really know what you're trying to do. And then it's confusing, and they're trying to be nice, but they're totally unclear with what you're up to, and no results are made. And it's just this awkward interaction.
Yep, exactly.
So it's like,
heart
okay.
of gold can't win in that scenario.
No, you can't. And so like when you have a bleeding heart that just wants to serve people, that's your biggest asset, greatest liability. And if you don't have a clear path for people to continue to work with you at a higher value, both costs are spending more, which means they care more and they show up more, as well as you're showing up to the table going, okay, I need to make sure they get every dollar of their value out of this session. And so the value proposition shifts.
Right. So what we do is, our sessions at that point were like down to like $9, $12, $15
workout? Yeah.
workout. And so we're now selling $80, $90, $100 an hour
Yeah.
when they're spending that a month.
Yeah.
And it was a hard sell. So people
Yeah.
just say, like, I really appreciate what you can do. Honestly, they would say that. I totally get what you're trying to get me to do. I'm just not going to pay that. If they couldn't afford it, or the case,
Yeah.
or we wanted 5
We
sessions.
also have the stigma of you're a personal trainer. I'm going to go see my chiropractor.
Definitely had to
I'm going to
fight
go see
through
my
that.
doctor. Like that
Definitely.
was like, the amount of, even to this day, the amount of clients that we continue to have who would still be like, I love you guys, you're awesome, I'm still going to go talk to my chiropractor. It's just the institutional bias is so profound.
It's deserved.
Yeah.
But not here.
It's still a bias. A bias doesn't entirely mean it's good or bad.
That's true.
But
yeah, and so that was a tough battle, and that's maybe you want to intro the next step.
Yeah. So then you had a habit. I want to say like there's a lot of different kinds of innovators out there. Like there's people who like love to stare at a blank page, and like from the blank page, like the entire 3D castle is built. Like they love the blank slate approach. There are other people who like could stare at a blank page and be like, I don't know what to create here. And they are improvers. They want to see how something's done because instantly they can see how they could make it better, how they could tweak it, how they could make it theirs. And you've always been that kind of innovator, the second one.
Yep.
So for you would do, I want to say like 3 or 4 years in a row, you do like a pilgrimage to go and see like really cool and inspiring facilities to you. Mm-hmm. And you would spend a couple of days and you would let the owners know, like, I'm coming. I just want to check some classes out. I want to take some classes. I want to talk to you. I want to learn what you're up to. And the number one place you would go to would be Train for the Game in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
One of our sister brother gyms, and we love them.
Shout out to Chris Braden. Shout out to Todd Wright. Shout out to Davey. Shout out to Jessica. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And all the others. Yeah.
Yeah. So... And Logan.
And shout out to Logan.
I can't say,
Gosh,
you got to say Logan. So anyways, you would go there every year. I want to say every August.
I went twice.
Okay, twice. Maybe I thought you went more.
No, yeah.
You took me once.
Yeah, exactly. I went with my good buddy and fellow gifter John. That was the first one, and then went back with you on much more of a like, hey.
I need you to see this business model because I think we need to understand it. And they were so generous and like they made time. They told us how much they're paying people. They showed us how they're programming. They showed us how they're charging. They talked to us about how
it's open sourcing.
Yeah, I mean
for the betterment of
100%. And it was like it was so beautiful because in our industry we're so damn competitive. And it's like we all like guard our little trade secrets. But like when a freaking place in Pennsylvania wants to learn about what we're up to, like how are we not going to tell them? Or now we've just figured out a way to turn it into a coaching program so people can learn from us like with our focused attention and not just if we happen to have an extra 30 minutes if they drive 6 hours to see us, right? But we get people coming from all over the world coming and being like, we want to come hang out with you guys. And so I guess we'll throw this out, but if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, that sounds like a great idea, I'd love to come see what Gymnazo is all about, please let us know.
Please. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it, because I've been that person.
Yeah, we'll set you up with some sessions to kind of get you into the feel of all the different things we offer. So,
yeah. And now we got a sweet airport that flies in from a lot of places. So it's pretty simple.
Yep.
A lot of people drive, just fly.
Yeah, they always like fly. They're going to I'm going to fly from or drive from San Diego, and it's like, do you realize it's like a 6-hour drive, 7 with traffic? Like, just fly. Yeah. Like, anyways, side note, we'll take you to dinner. But anyways, so you end up taking me with you, and we see what's called semi-private,
right, which is in the industry, it's more popularly known as small group. But to us, small group is one on 12, 1 on 16. This is 1 on 4. Yeah. Right. So just to be clear, right? Yeah. It's 1 on 4 training, and it's specialized, and a lot. And then what they did, I loved it. Man, Chris did a great job. He gave me a unique workout to what you did. In fact, I had some lower back pain during that session. Yeah. He asked you and I a couple questions, and literally on-sited the session with 2 other real clients, and we're like what the heck are we doing? And he's like, Paden, go over there and foam roll this. Michael, I want you to get in the stretching cage and do this. And then these other guys like know enough to be like, okay, they're going through their first little locomotion drills. And we're like, whoa, he's literally orchestrating 4 different workout programs with 4 different athletes with totally different things going on. And he's just rocking it. It's literally an orchestra, and he's the conductor. It was so badass. And I literally felt that was my personal workout. And Chris came over and he chatted me when I needed it. Yes, but he wasn't watching your ass as you squatted. I mean, that's literally the thing that I hated about personal training. Yeah, it's some people's like it's too much attention. Yeah. And it allowed him, and we knew what the business pricing structure was and how it all worked out, and it made way more financial sense doing that than a one-on-one. not as much financial sense as doing group, but you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but you get your VIPs because
Yeah.
there's a demographic that's like, I want a higher value, but not like my best friend chit-chatting with me as I'm trying to breathe through freaking hard exercise. Like, so you kind of get it. To us, it's ultimately the coolest thing ever, and our coaches love it. Like, you want to energize your fitness staff, throw them into this kind of training model, and they are lit up because they are on. They are problem solving. They are going. They have curated the programming, and they are just dynamic.
The key on this one, though, is the back end. If you don't have a strong back end model on how this system works, you're going to be stressing yourself out.
You mean how to program?
Yeah, because most people just give one workout and just kind of tweak it for those 4 or 5 people. That's how most, just from what I've seen, from what I've been told. We do that for the group. We do that with 16.
Yeah.
We tweak it for all those 16 people, and they do one workout. Right? Yeah. That's what we do. But to program for 4 people and not be constantly programming, like we have a system on how we program.
Yeah.
File system. If you have multiple coaches training one person, we highly, highly suggest that. We want multiple eyes on the same type of the same clientele. It's not me only training these people, because you get so much more done. You get so much more impact. You get so much more than what you think. You're just building the back end service, the communication. I have to say that because it's like, how do you do that? Well, I want this podcast to be a moment to share that, just a little brief.
Yeah. So that was like the sweet spot. And so we got that inspiration from Train for the Game. I got to give them some credit. That was powerful. And I felt it, and I was like, okay, I see how this is. Like, if we've got exclusive, which is what we call personal training, and we've got these 3 levels of group, semi-private's like such a perfect in-between spot, because you can tell people like who are injured or getting funky in the group fitness, but they don't want to stop. But you're like, I can see the writing on the wall. Like, you're going to get an injury, and you're just stubborn enough to not want to stop because you love what the routine gives you. We get it. Like, it's really powerful. Here, it's not $150 an hour or $100 an hour. It's $40 for the hour. That's an easier sell. But then the problem became, you can't take people from group and plop them into semi-private. How do you program for somebody without analyzing their movement? And that's when you said we need a screening, like a movement screen that we can take people through and actually figure out way more than just the shoulder that's bugging them. Like, what's really going on in their body?
Yeah, like all these different things we came through by trial by fire and error.
Yes, completely.
Like, people jump into semi-private, sign up. We have no idea who they are.
Yeah, there's no program written. So the coach is totally stressed out going like, I don't even know. But like, one coach said they were having elbow pain. Right. What was making you have elbow pain? Well, I don't know. I kind of forget what we were doing. Great. Welcome to the workout.
Yeah, so you're doing a movement assessment in real time while coaching 3 other people.
Yeah. So you're just like, okay, this just dropped you in the full deep end with waves.
So it's really cool. So we set parameters, right? We set up sign up walls, like you can't just sign up for G3. You have to test in. Like, man, that was a big process for us, because people getting into G3, like, gosh, you're just not there yet with your movement.
Well, hold on. I want to keep going back to the 3D assessment.
Well,
because that's important.
But in that same line, it was like, you can't just go do that. Semi-private, you just can't go do that. So we have to get some sort of baseline.
Yeah.
And putting up walls, structures, like impassable sign-up walls, was perfect.
I literally kept thinking of you actually resurrecting walls.
Oh, yeah. Metaphor.
Sorry, I missed that.
Metaphor.
Paywalls,
exactly.
scheduling walls. Anyways,
exactly,
we got to keep kind of rolling
People
here.
just couldn't sign up for semi-private. They had to have a one-on-one movement assessment first. Then we click a box in the software. Then they can go sign up for it.
Yeah.
Right? But we had to do that, though. We had to actually put up walls, metaphorically. And that
barriers. Yeah, I don't know if that's better.
So then it gave the coach time to assess, to personally connect, which is super important. And
build belief around how smart we were, what we knew, get them to feel it in their body, because once they could believe that we knew our shit, they would stay.
Right, and put together the strategy and have enough time to actually build a program that another coach could implement.
Yes.
And that was the key.
Because then the key coach that does the screen, which by the way had to be a senior coach. Like, we had literally for every one of these services, we have levels of education you have to be certified in to be even able to coach. Once you're certified, we have to like shadow you and work with you until we know you can handle clients. So it created this career path for brand new trainers. Side note, that was super important because you got ambitious, extroverted coaches. They aren't going to be happy staying in your company if all they do is do 6 group sessions every day.
Yeah, I was just talking to Mitch about that. Really, I was really loving my job because I was the one coach doing one-on-one.
Yes.
And doing group, and everyone else was just doing group.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much fun! Like, this is so cool. Like, I was loving my job.
Yeah.
But then we had a bunch of college coaches at that time, so perfect. They just went to grad school. They left. It was great. It was perfect. But then we started having careers. I remember the first time a coach said, "I'm getting bored of doing group." I'm like, oh, it's like a shot to the heart. I'm like, what?
You don't love my programming?
I know, but it's like, duh, of course you're going to get bored doing the same thing over and over and over again. Even if it's a new workout, but it's the same energy, same mindset.
Same people, sometimes
same 5:30 group, whatever the case is. And then building this, allowing them to go to one-on-one. Like, this is like years of processing when we're doing this. And then finally moving into our building we're in now, where we can actually fit semi-private, running at the same time as one-on-one, running at the same time as group, because you didn't have the space.
3 levels of group, So our footprint is around 13,000 square feet right now. If you include the outdoors, it's like 18,000.
Trainable square footage is 13,000.
Yeah. So anyways, just we like to say that because it's important
context,
it's really hard. We do it so much in our industry, is like comparing the apples to oranges and feeling bad. It's like, no. We want to bring you into like the journey, because who you become in the journey is the most important part, I believe.
Because I remember being at our second location with, we had 6,000 square feet of trainable space, 5,000 actually.
Yeah.
And we knew we wanted to do semi-private, but we held off.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Because we didn't have a space for it.
Yeah, and then what we had to do, side note, because we had a bunch of people in group, we had semi-private, but we were like, well, we have to, you have to open a schedule up so people want to sign up, but then you have to allocate a coach to that. But if it's empty, who gets paid? So then, anyways, this is like a whole business backside to this, but we had to offer all of our group all of our group clients 2 free semi-private sessions to see if we could kind of move people into semi-private. And we ended up doing that. But the biggest feeder wasn't that. The biggest feeder was, hey, you've got a movement dysfunction showing up. Let's do a 3D assessment. We use that assessment to educate you, empower you, and build trust with you. Then that coach builds your first workout program, and you go in feeling like a rock star because that new coach knows literally everything that you just said, which you honestly can't even say for most medical departments. Sorry. They barely pull a file on you half the time before they're asking you to regurgitate the same information. So like that was like a big moment of a win. And then it was like, okay, then we kind of it found its people, its tribe, and then the people ebb and flow out of it. But some people love it and stay. And so the power of what we just talked through in the last 45 minutes is like, I want you to take us through the ideal client journey real quick, but what we just told you from every one of those services is what we refer to as the ecosystem of services that we offer at Gymnazo. And we advocate hard for this because of what it does to lifetime client value as well as retention.
And the key thing is retention.
Yes.
So the cool thing about an ecosystem is it doesn't matter where you start.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Entry points are at every single spot, except for G3. But every single spot. And that's the coolest thing about it.
So if someone isn't looking at a visual right now, like walk them through. Somebody brand new walks in, where are we directing them, and what's a typical baby boomer walking in the door? How are they going to experience what we offer at Gymnazo? How did we design it?
Perfect. So let's say a baby boomer walks in and they want to do fitness.
Yeah.
We ask them a simple question at the front desk staff. Do you have any pain? How do you move? And they're like, oh, I move great. I feel great. Good. You go to group. Group level 1. Group level 1. That's where you start. And that's it. We don't even give options on going to 2. Level 1. We want people to start at the basic level, and then from there get a workout underneath their belt, because our movement is different. Our 3-dimensional movement training is different. A lot of people just want to jump into 2, or the case is like start with 1. Even higher level athletes, start with 1, get a feel for it. This is when we're doing a free session, and then you can go into the next tier, which is 2, whatever the case is. Someone comes in, they have a little bit of movement pain, boom, movement assessment.
Well, we actually have a system. I'm pretty sure like, correct me if I'm wrong, in real time, you have to do a movement assessment within X number of months of signing a membership with us.
To clarify that, you can come in and do a group workout first under a trial package.
Yes.
Which most people do.
Yeah, I think this is important because you attract people with a good promotion, get them going. Don't throw up a wall and say we have to screen you first and all this stuff.
No,
like, you'll actually lose more people that way because it's just a higher barrier to entry. Right. So we've kind of said, okay, we want that quality, but we need to get them in kind of moving first.
So once that promotion's over, which is just a good deal. Right?
Yeah.
And then once they become a member, then they have to do that movement assessment.
Within, I think, a first month, I think we say. Because, they have to find their schedule. They want to keep their routine. So we really just say, okay, like within this first 30 days, we don't do, an application fee or whatever the heck that is, because everyone feels like, are you kidding me? You're going to charge me $99 for you to literally type in, as you're talking to me, 5 pieces of information. Yeah. Come on, what a ripoff. So we go, okay, that doesn't feel good to the customer. We'd rather get them to spend some money in the first month setting us up for success with them so we can win them over long term.
Well, they want that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to? Yeah. So we've
kind of adopted the mindset. We'll always lose money on a brand new client. Month 1, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're going to keep you for years. 20 months, like pretty much for sure. And so, like, I think when I ran the numbers on this a while ago, it was like the average person spends like 2.5 years with us. Mm-hmm. So it's like crazy. Like that's huge. And then you figure out like that's like every person you land as a client is basically going to spend like $6,000 to $7,000 in your business. You got it. Like, I'll lose $100 for that. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But the ecosystem, anyway, so can I just do, maybe I'm just going to do this. Okay. Someone brand new walks in, we give them the trial. They get a chance to kind of figure out which level of training they should go into.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about this because it's so awesome, because it's how it's built. And then from there, the one-on-one is a great thing because that's when they understand what they bring to the table. It's super important. People don't know that they have a movement dysfunction walking through your doors. Everyone does. Everyone brings baggage to a relationship. That's the way it goes. So what do you do about it? You unpack it, you say it's there, and you work on it. Now, they can work on it themselves, or they can hire someone to work on it for them. And that's where you have this amazing opportunity to say, I think, you know what, you should go to group, but you shouldn't do just group. You should also do semi-private as well for 2 or 3 months, or do it 2 times a week forever, whatever the case is. And it gives that client an amazing opportunity for them to invest in themselves and make their group last longer, their fitness last longer. It's all about sustainability. How do you keep someone working out for tomorrow, for the next day, not just ripping them and killing them for that one day? It's not about working out harder, it's about working out smarter. So we have this option in that assessment to say, you should go to group. You're dialed in. In fact, you should go to group level 2. And in fact, I want you testing into group 3 in a month. It gives them a roadmap. I think that's why we have that big poster. Is that whole big poster in semi-private is what is your path to success? And from there, you get this opportunity, a one-on-one time, to say from the movement assessment, you can go to semi-private. And some people stay in semi-private and just do semi-private, and they love it. But then we built even another little side thing where they can do semi-private and group in one membership. Mm-hmm. And that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. If I could restart Gymnazo all over again, everyone would do semi-private to some degree and group versus the way it started.
At least one time a week.
At least, or even once a month. Mm-hmm. Some sort of reset, because group is so awesome, but it's not enough attention for the human body. Like just like you everyone takes their car in to get serviced eventually, and that's what the human body needs that one-on-one touch point, or at least not one-on-one, but that same kind of focus every now and again. And I think that's where we lose a lot from these franchise fitness places. They just don't have it. Yeah. So they're going to churn through clients and coaches because it's boring to do that. So like
100%.
Today, I started my session with a semi-private. Then I went to a group. Then I went to a one-on-one. Like I did 3 different hours of work and 3 different mentalities, 3 different ways of energy, 3 different ways of treating clients.
And now you're doing podcasts.
And I'm doing podcasts. And I'm going to go back to group. Yeah. And then I'm going to end my day with a semi-private. Awesome. What a great day.
Yeah.
Great day. Burnout, zero. Excitement,
Okay, so back
awesome.
to the client experience. So the way that we've orchestrated this, and we should put some graphics up here where you go like, you come in, you get your assessment, you go into exclusive, you go into semi-private, and then you enter into group. And then people in group can kind of come back into different sessions as they need tuning up, as they, yanked something, they were bouldering with their friend, they went on a big climb and they rolled their ankle and they want to come back. And we've saved so many people from falling off the bandwagon of fitness because we have something in place for them to go to in the environment that they love.
Yeah, that's the best part because they're going to get dinged. Your training is not perfect and their bodies do not operate perfectly. So what happens when it does happen?
Yeah.
Not if, when. And it's been huge. It's been absolutely huge. And I think you've mentioned this. You've mentioned this as well. Like, we didn't really grow our membership that much.
Yeah, there was one year where we literally doubled our income by only adding like 10% more people. It was insane. When I went back and looked at it, it was simply because we infused the ecosystem. And then we had like the assessment, we were pitching exclusives, and then we were proactively moving exclusives into semi-private. Like, the goal of exclusive is to get them into semi-private, where the value proposition is better for everybody. So like our coaches, it's like, well, we're going to move through exclusives, but we're going to try to get you to like 80% better. Semi-private will take you the rest of the way. And then if you choose to integrate back in a group and get more like lower prices and more social interaction, great. Or you can stay in semi-private because you just freaking love it. And you're like, I just feel amazing.
Yeah, it's really, what I love about this job, quote unquote, is the more money we make, the more people we help.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no extortion going on. It's just like it's always a win-win.
Yeah.
Always a win-win. And it's the ecosystem business model that I don't know. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I think our clients would say the exact same thing. For them to have access to that. Not everyone does it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that just do group.
Yeah.
But they know it's there. Because they see it. They literally see it. There's a semi-private going on at the exact same time. There's a movement assessment going on at the exact same time. Well, at least they've all done the movement assessment, so the coach had the opportunity to let them know.
Yeah.
And they get a personalized video on what they should do about their movement,
Oh,
good
that's
or bad.
true. We should mention that. With the 3D assessment that you get with us, part of it is we put together like a little homework video that you have lifetime access to around the issues and the dysfunctions that showed up. So, for example, like a 5-minute pre-workout stretching sequence specifically for your body.
Right, and that's money. And it's not a piece of paper. It's literally a video with audio, video, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's literally custom every time. We actually tried. We tried to rubber stamp it. And CJ and I just looked at each other and was like, no.
We just can't.
We can't do it.
Yeah. But that's a huge value. So it's like, welcome to Gymnazo here. Wow, let's take care of you. Let's analyze the hell out of your body. Let's connect, build trust. And then here's your own personal, like before
warm-up.
bedtime or when you wake up or before the workout or after, like here's what you specifically need to do to feel amazing. And it's like, what an amazing customer experience.
At least we hope so, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Plus, we have an intake form that they fill out at home that allows us to have time before the 3D assessment to kind of know what to look for. But
yeah, I love seeing like the back end of buildings and places like that. Like I love to see like how something's actually made. Mm-hmm. And when I look at our ecosystem, what's mostly impressive is the back end.
Yeah.
What clients don't see, and if you want that in your business, then I highly recommend our multi-dimensional movement coaching program. Because it goes into the back end of all the things that have done the decade plus that Paden and I have been bantering back and forth. Seriously, that's what I love about our relationship. Is that we don't agree on things. We are literally opposites.
Yes, in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, and that's been a huge value. Mm-hmm. What the case is, and this podcast table has been a bit of a therapy table at times too, and it's been actually fun, truly. And it's to understand how that all works into a coursework that has personal coaching in it is something that we're really proud of. And if you want to check that out, check it out in the show notes. But it's really transforming a lot of trainers' lives, and it's exactly what we have done over the decade plus.
Yeah, without all the twists and turns. It's sort of like how the journey goes. Like there's twists, turns, there's boulders, there's like crazy things that you're obstacling or going over obstacles, and then all of a sudden, like someone can look back and go, "Oh, if we would have just gone from A to B,
right,
you could have."
Total bird's eye view.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so we put that into a coaching program for people.
Yeah, so that's all I have to say on it.
Yeah, so that's our episode wrapping up there on what we mean when we talk about the ecosystem and how it can be a huge advantage to customers, to the owners of the operation, really getting to higher leverage, higher value, retention, better lifetime value, and coaches. And it really creates a career path and different levels. And it's just been really powerful across all those kind of 3 demographics you really have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
To run a good business. And so that's what we get excited about. And we're not done. I mean, we still have specialty classes that come in and keep it fresh. And we're doing all sorts of stuff and developing even our own piece of equipment, which will be super exciting to unveil at some point.
I think that was the first public launch you just gave right there.
I get really excited about that. If you're still listening, welcome to the insider circle there. That was a good moment. But yeah, that's what we've built at Gymnazo, and we're really proud of it.
Cool. All right.
Thanks for listening.